And first-time jobless claims rose for the first time in 4 weeks, up 10,000, but are still near 17-year lows. Tom Busby, CNBC.
This is John Greenhut. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
So you own your own business. Got small ambitions for this business? Of course you don't. Got medium ambitions for this business? Of course you don't. Who has medium ambitions? You got big ambitions. If you're a growing business with big ambitions, you want to grow with Grainger. Grainger has the products, the services, and more importantly, the commitment you need. Total commitment. If you're a growing business, Grainger's got your back. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. One police officer is dead, another wounded in a shooting in Paris. No word if the shooting at the Champs-Elysees is terrorism related. Police say the gunman is dead. NBC News' Keir Simmons talks about the scene in Paris.
Police are still have been clearing the area. It is evening there. You can see just the same kinds of scenes as we've seen across European cities on many occasions now. The public frightened, trying to move away.
The shooting comes just days before France's presidential election. Meanwhile, President Trump says that shooting in Paris certainly looks like another terror attack.
Our condolences from our country to the people of France. Again, it's happening, it seems, so that's a terrible thing.
The president making the remarks at the White House. Tennessee authorities say a tip from a caller in Northern California is the key to the arrest of a fugitive former teacher and the safe recovery of a 15-year-old girl.
Caller indicated they have taken up residence in a cabin in a remote area in Cecilville, California.
Tennessee Bureau of Investigation spokesman Josh Devine today said the caller told the TBI he might have recently encountered 50-year-old Tad Cummins and 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas. California authorities told the TBI they had received a similar call from the same individual. It led them to Cummins' vehicle and to a remote cabin in a rugged area about 100 miles south of the Oregon border, where they had been staying for more than a week. They kept the vehicle under surveillance, and Cummins was arrested at daybreak. Thomas was found unharmed. A celebration of all things pot is underway. Proponents of marijuana use gathering at rallies and celebrations across the country today in recognition of 420. It's considered to be the day to smoke pot, especially in the 8 states where adult recreational pot use is legal. The Dow was up 174 points to close at 20,579. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Right in the middle of Redlands is a special place called the Tennessee Gardens, where great memories and romance abound. Under fragrant magnolia trees, beside seasonal flowers, and next to its whimsical ponds, brides and grooms begin their lives together and events are celebrated. With over 25 years' experience, its award-winning professional staff, led by Executive Chef Michelle, owner of Michelle's Bakery, create mouth-watering cakes and events. Celebrate your special event with people who care at the spectacular Tennessee Gardens, conveniently located right in the middle of Redlands. Make a no-obligation appointment to find out more about Tennessee Gardens. Call 909-793-5311. That's 909-793-5311. Or visit mybrideandgroom.com.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Hey everyone, how we doing out there today? This is the Flip-Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip-Flop Investor, as they call me. I don't know why they call me that, really. They say it's because they wear flip-flops all the time.
I
but
was just going to say that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Who knows? We also do flips. We flip real estate here in the Inland Empire, and we sometimes flop on real estate too. So sometimes we talk about the flips, sometimes we talk about the flops. They don't always work out, So we tend to learn more from the flops anyway. When we do the flips, we think we're geniuses and we can't do a no wrong, and then we have a flop, and that's when we get dialed back down to reality and realize, okay, what went wrong. So. But today we're not going to be talking about any flops. We don't want to talk about that stuff. We want to stay on a happy note. But anyway, we get together every week and we talk about real estate with local investors. And sometimes we get together some experts in the industry. Other times we talk to news people that are kind of getting started. And today we get to talk to somebody who is not necessarily new, but we've actually had on the show before. And we're excited to have you back. How you doing, Charlie?
Good, and thank you. I'm excited to be back, and I'd like to thank everyone that's listening. And I know on a Thursday most people could be doing something else, but instead they're going to be listening to Todd and me.
Yeah, and I wish we could do better, but we'll try to do as best we can.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, for sure. And last time Charlie was here, he was here with Jim Keller, who was the first ever guest on the show, and Jim came back with you, actually, and he filled in another time as a substitute host with me because we were still doing the show with my partner Steven at that time, and he filled in, so that was fun. But this time it's cool having you back just solo because now we can really have a good conversation and talk about all the stuff that we didn't get to talk about last time. So Charlie, we'll go back into the far reaches of history, all the way back to 2015 when you and I first met. I went down because of a mutual friend of ours, Kendall Stock. He was having a little meeting down at his office in Murrieta, and I went down there to go check out some new real estate training program he was offering out to the public called Renatus,
yes.
Which, by the way, we don't necessarily endorse or anything like that on the show, but if you want to check it out, Renatus is a thing out there. So Kendall had us down there, and he wanted me to give him some notes and some pointers and things like that on what I felt about the Renatus brand. And I'll keep that to myself for right now, but we'll
I remember. I remember that day.
Yeah, we met then, and you came up to me, and we started talking, and that's when I told you about the real estate, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, and we kind of we hit it off from there. So you at that time you were working with Kendall.
Yeah, I was actually I was working with Kendall and Darren Davis, and actually more with Darren Davis, his partner. So before that, we were going out, and they were actually still buying down at the Trustee. And
the Trustee sale, for those of you listening, that's where all the foreclosure homes go to get auctioned off. It's a public place. In Riverside, it used to be at the Riverside Courthouse, but then they moved it because of some law. And it's a public place, and they auction off homes that have been foreclosed on by the bank.
Yeah, so I was part of their program, and I asked Darren if I could ride with him, and we'd go out and we'd look at about 10 to 12 properties, and so I'd get on my phone. I say, I think this is worth this much, and you say, okay, you're on, you're off, and so I started kind of getting the hang of comping out properties and actually looking at properties, and then we went down to the auction where they bought a couple of properties.
Yeah.
So,
that's a lot of fun. I mean, I actually bought my first property at the Trustee sale in 2006. That was the first investment I ever did, but I was going every single day for like 3 months before I was actually able to win a bid against those big-time sharks that are at the Trustee sale auctions.
Yeah.
So, they more or less let me get one. It wasn't like I was like the best bidder there. They actually let me do it just to be nice. I don't know why they were deciding to be nice. Maybe just to get me to go away. Who knows? But so you guys would buy some properties down there, renovate them, flip them, that sort of thing.
So that's then I had met you there, and we had talked, and so I felt that you were, what you call it, like a real genuine person, and so that's what kind of got me intrigued and talking to you. And then you told me about the club.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really where it all started, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that the club kind of became this like spot that like everybody came together, and now everybody has their teams they work with, and a lot of people that are doing it now in the Inland Empire are part of the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. So it's It's kind of cool. We didn't expect that to be the result.
Yeah, it was really a springboard for me.
Yeah.
When I first got in touch with you. Before that, I had taken a training program in 2012 out of Arizona with a guy named Cody Sperber.
Okay, I've heard of. Yeah, Cody. He's got some ads up on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
I've seen him, with like Josh Altman.
Yeah,
I
met actually Josh Altman. I was out there in Arizona. Me and my partner Mike, we were out there maybe about 6-7 months ago, and him and Josh Altman were out there giving some training.
Okay.
But the real training, I think, started when you introduced me to Jim Keller. I said, I really want to take some action, and you said, okay, I'm going to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, because Jim was taking some people out at that time, showing some people how to basically bird dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bird dogging. I have the tendency to use jargon. I shouldn't, but bird dogging, for those of you that don't know, is basically going out and finding potential homes that may need to be sold to an investor, because you have houses that are in really nice shape. They don't really need an investor to buy it unless there's some kind of a crazy family situation and they need to close like next week. But most of the time, it's going to be a house that has a lot of problems and is not going to qualify for a traditional bank loan product.
Yeah.
So you met Jim.
You introduced me to Jim.
Yeah.
And then for probably for like the first 3 weeks, I was chasing around because he was really busy.
Yeah.
And then finally he said, come on down, and we looked at some property down in Orange County. And so I just stuck right behind him to learn as much as I possibly can in any free time I could. And I was just behind him, and it was that was real. My jump off starting point was right there and then. It's like you have so many hours that you need to accumulate to actually become an investor. You don't become it never happens overnight.
Sure.
It's not for me.
And you had kind of started your education process back as far as like 2009, right? That's like about when you read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I had I was down in Temecula, and I had just moved from San Diego, and we went to this mom and pop's book, and I saw this Robert. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah,
Robert Kiyosaki.
Me either. When I first picked it up, it was just in the business section.
It was like lightning. I still have the book. I turned when I was done. I was just so enlightened that I turned the book and I wrote exactly what I wanted to do.
Oh man,
I just didn't realize that it would take this long and that there would be so much hard work that would go into it.
Yeah, that's the reality. I think and a lot of people go to seminars and stuff like that, and they get they get all hyped up and they get excited about the potential that this business has, but they don't understand the reality of what actually goes into creating that lifestyle that a lot of people are hoping to get in this business. So. And Rich Dad Poor Dad that was my gateway drug, I guess you could say, into real estate investing too, because I read that in 2002, and it wasn't until 2006 that I actually bought my first property. So, that was 4 years, but I also had a mentor, that I worked very closely with at that time. So, having sort of a direct hands-on mentor training is very, very beneficial. But even for that, it still took me 4 years. And you basically started doing like handyman kind of work, right? Yeah, you got some music playing in the background. Not sure what that is, but we have.
It got me moving though.
I know we're like, hey, we got a different show going today. But so yeah, you had read the book, but you had gotten started doing like some handyman kind of work.
Yeah, so I had some background in. So most of my life I've been an entrepreneur. I've never had a real job more than 2 years.
Okay.
I'm just not really employable.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I'm gainfully unemployed still, actually.
But in 2008 though, when everything crashed, though, that's when I thought it would be a great time to build a construction business and think about building this real estate business.
Yeah, and it was a great time for that.
It's just too bad that I didn't know what I know now in 2009. Because
don't get me started on that. I hear you.
But so I started a handyman business, and so I would go to these free seminars that they had in town. Robert Allen, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Fortune Builders, anyone that was in town, I was going to be there. And so I'd show up 2 hours early and introduce myself to everyone.
All the organizers.
No,
everyone, the patrons, the people attending.
Everyone that was attending, because in my mind there was going to be one person or a couple people there that had the same desire and the same passion as I did. And so So I kept looking and looking and looking until I actually found that person, and that person's been me all along.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know it. I think part of this game here is actually becoming like a responsible human being and becoming mature, regardless of your age, whether you're 30 or whether you're 50.
Yeah, very true. You know, and there's people that are of all ages that come to the club that you know, are basically, they've been seeking and searching for this sort of a lifestyle or this sort of a business for a long time. I know some people, like I'd say probably the average age of the people that come to the club are like maybe 55. You know, it's probably about the average age, and these are people that have never invested in real estate in a lot of cases, and they want to. You know, they're thinking back to the Dave Delgado days, the Carlton Sheets days, the Tommy Vu days, where they'd see these infomercials on TV, and they want to invest in real estate ever since then. And some of them might have even invested at some point. We've met a lot of people that bought like out-of-state rentals through like Marshall Reddick, things like that, where, you know, these people like bought out of state, did these like real estate investments, and then, you know, the downturn happened and they lost them. Yeah. I know there's probably even somebody listening right now that I know that did that. So, but he, you know, it's, yeah, people, a lot of times people like got into this stuff and then they didn't do it right, I guess, is what happens, and they got out, and then, but they've always wanted to get back in. So, in your case, you hadn't really gotten in yet, but you not wanted to do it, and so here you are.
Yeah, here I am. You know, I think you got to surround yourself with the right people. So I think you mentally, before you even start, you got to mentally get yourself in the game, because most people, they never even get started, and it's a shame. And
Sure.
Me and you have talked about this.
It's hard, because, and you know, it's hard for people. You know, like a lot of people, like they're good at what they do at their job, for example, and you know, if they're good at their job, they're used to it. They're comfortable. They're complicit. You know, and then when it takes to do this as another business, it's completely different from what they're currently doing, most likely. And in the very beginning, you have to wear every hat. Yes. You know, you have to be the sales staff, you have to be the admin, you have to be the manager, you have to be the contractor. Like most people that start off on their own don't realize they have to wear every single hat within the organization. They have to be the appraiser, the realtor, you know, the research specialist, all that kind of stuff. They have to be these people. So in the very beginning, nobody has the confidence to be able to hire these people, because you don't want to, like, you hear so much about people in this business getting screwed over by, you know, bad contractors, you know, crooked real estate agents or something like that, where people are giving you bad information or bad advice, you know, or doing bad work. It's, you know, so people get very afraid in this business. It starts to get scary for some, and I think, you know, the fear combined with the lack of knowledge and the lack of drive is really what prevents people from actually being successful in this business, because it does take a lot of work and it takes some guts, you know. Yeah. And that's why we found a lot of the people that sort of have already hit rock bottom at a point in their life. It may not necessarily be right now that they're at rock bottom, but people that have hit a point in their life where there was nowhere to go but up, they seem to get it better, where they already know what the worst looks like, and they're not afraid to go back there because they know that that's okay. They can always come back from that.
They're weathered.
Yeah, they're weathered.
You become weathered through every storm, and that's the beauty of it. Is once you're weathered, there's like you've gone through the worst. So it's almost like it's almost like you have these great new muscles that you grew almost, you know, overnight. It's that confidence.
Yeah. Plus, you know, that drive. And I know you and I had talked about it before too, where, you know, you just have always been an entrepreneur, like ever since you were a kid. And it's like always doing some kind of a, you know, a hustle, some kind of a something, you know, just to kind of keep the income coming in. And even I've had little businesses even since I was a kid in elementary school selling candy. You know, like I've always had little things going on because, you know, I always wanted to have some money in my pocket. But, you know, like it's funny that in this business, we found that the new people that are really smart, and sometimes they tend to overthink things a lot, they get into this analysis paralysis where they can't do anything. They just are afraid to get out there and do something and fail at it. You know, like that's so much of this business is us just trying stuff and failing at it, you know, and then we realize, okay, that didn't work. What went wrong? You know, maybe we shouldn't have put at the front of the letter this. You know, maybe this didn't work. Maybe we shouldn't have pounded on their door when we knocked on it. Maybe we should have knocked a little bit lighter. You know, maybe I shouldn't have worn a business suit. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And you just try new things. Like, this business is all about research and development, experimentation, and you know, that's
the fun part. And you know,
fun, yeah.
You just said like a great nugget. It's if you're not willing to go out there and make mistakes and really put yourself out there, and it will never happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said earlier, you got to have guts. But then you got to have guts, and you got to surround yourself with the right people. Like, I'm a true believer of that. Like, the more I surround myself with people that have more knowledge, that have more money, right? I find myself that I get more smarter, like, and I attract more sellers, almost like a magnet. And so I think a lot of people believe that they're going to spend $50,000. They're going to take this course, and you know, by the end of the year, they're going to be making $1 million.
Oh man, it won't happen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, it's not that it won't happen, but it is very unlikely. You know, of all the people that we know that are successful in this business, you know, buying a real estate investment training course doesn't typically yield those kinds of returns that quickly. But hey, you can always try.
You know, Todd, there's a great book. It's called The Outliers that I read, and through. So I'm going to take you right back to 2008 when I started like the handyman business. What I really did, I turned off the TV and I found out who I was and what was my purpose and what I stood for. And I stood very strong and firm throughout the tornadoes, the hot heat, through every single storm that we can possibly think of.
Yeah, and that time, 2008, I mean, there were still a lot of people that hadn't been affected yet by the downturn. You know, for me, the real estate downturn started in March of 2007. That was when, for me, the business changed.
Yeah.
And you know, 2008, by that time, we were already buying rental properties. You know, we had already shifted our business model by that point. And so in 2008, but at that time, there were still people out there. I remember I went to Vegas that year. I went to Vegas in 2008, and I was surprised to see how many people were there. And I kind of thought to myself, man, this place is going to be a lot more deserted next year. And it was. 2009 was, like, amazingly awesome in a way because there weren't so many people there. But it was kind of amazing to me. Like, you know, every year I kind of, like, I go to these things. Like, I do a lot of stuff, like, the same every year. Like, we go to, like, different like the LA County Fair, like things like that. You know, there's a festival, like a home improvements show that we go to every year. And every year I just kind of keep note in my mind of like how many people are in attendance. And I remember in one of them is Vegas. If there's a lot of people in Vegas, I feel like there's a lot of disposable income in California. But another one is this this home improvement, like I don't know what it is, convention or something like that. They do out in Anaheim at the convention center. And you know, I remember in 2006 we went. And they had it like in the entire downstairs of the Anaheim Convention Center, which is huge. And they had like mobile homes parked in there. And one of the Real Housewives of Orange County was there. And like, it was a huge event. And then like 2009 was pathetic. It was like half of a room. Like there was nobody there. And last year when we went, actually no, this year, no, we haven't gone this year yet. Last year when we went, it's getting big again, you know, so it's not as big as it was, but it's getting there. It's definitely bigger than half of a room. And, you know, you're starting to see multiples of the same things. A lot of solar stuff going on right now, too, you see there, which wasn't there prior to the crash. You hardly saw anything about solar. So
talking about you seem to be talking almost like a real estate market. How there used to be people, so you can tell that was that was going on the downturn, and you see more people. So yeah, you're a numbers guy.
Yeah, so like for me, it's I always like to keep my my fingers on the pulse, just kind of, and like those are some of the other things I like to look at. You can't quantify those things on a chart. Well, I guess you could if you were to contact the convention people and say how many tickets were sold. You know, I'm sure you could probably get it, but those are different little things that I like to kind of keep an eye on because it gives me an idea of what the actual consumer sentiment is right now in California, especially when it's things like home improvement. when you start seeing financing going up on toys, hot tubs, things that people are putting into their homes, stuff like that, motorhomes, all the dirt bikes, things like that. Once those things start coming, once you see everybody owning like a dirt bike, that's when I get scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know. I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but I'm glad we did.
That was awesome.
So you did a lot of education. You kind of educated yourself. You went to some of these seminars, the free ones, where they try to upsell you into something else, but you didn't get upsold. You never spent the money on that stuff, which is good. But you went to all these things, and then it takes a little while to like kind of gather the information and to gather the confidence to be able to strike out there on your own. And, of course, going along with Jim for a little bit there, which, if anybody wants, I don't think Jim's offering this anymore. I think he's too busy to take anybody along with him. But, so you go out there, and it takes a little while. But now that you're out there, and this is the good news, and this is what I wanted to get to, was that you've already got 2 deals in escrow right now that are set to close, the end of the month, I think.
One of them end of the month, the beginning of May.
Yep. And then you got another one that's probably going to escrow tomorrow.
Yep.
So now you're just rocking and rolling.
Well, here's the thing is, I look forward, and now it's really fun. And so I think when, excuse me, once you start having fun in anything you do, you're just going to have a great time. And I want to have a great time doing this every day. And this is the reason why I do this, is because I'm passionate about this business, and at the same time, it's going to give me the time to spend, with my loved ones and do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the most amazing part about this whole thing that we're talking about.
Do you have an income goal for this year?
My income goal from now to 1 year from now is for the company to make $1 million. So my job is to influence many other people, right? And that's how I think I'm going to arrive at that goal. So my goal is to do between 20 and 25 houses, and now that's a lot of houses.
That's not a lot. Well, it is a lot. You're right, but
for a newer person, for a newer investor.
I shouldn't contradict when you say that's a lot of houses. I don't know why I did that, but it is a lot of houses. It really is, because you are also a solo organism. You're not like a large organization that has a bunch of different people involved. So
no, it's small, but I'll tell you, it really helps. I work with a realtor. I think she's been on the show too, Summer.
Yep.
She's awesome, and we both are able to work it. Sometimes, if I need to come on the investor side, I'll work at that angle, or sometimes if we need to come through the realtor side, she's there.
Yeah,
and it works great. The bird dogs that are out there hustling, Brandon and Miguel, they're great. And then I work with a general contractor, Armando. He's awesome. I used to work for a real estate investor and developer, and that's how I met most of the people now that are part of this team.
Yeah, and that's so crucial to have the right people. And I haven't met Armando yet, but I've heard he's an awesome guy. So we're excited to work with him on these Bloomington deals.
He's done a great job. He does most of the high finishes for CT Homes. In San Diego, and a few other guys. It was very knowledgeable. And I used to be also a project manager. I think that you really got to be knowledgeable and have a good understanding of the construction side, because I know a lot of new guys end up falling. And it really hurts because they did the repairs wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the two number one things that are wrong with most new people when they bring a deal to us is that their value is wrong because they haven't learned how to properly value property, and secondly, the value of the price of the rehab is completely off. And sometimes it's really high, which is interesting. I like when I get the really high rehabs because they've typically made their offer based upon that really high rehab. But usually that means they've never done an actual investment property. They're thinking about, okay, how much did it cost me to do my kitchen at home? And, they're using numbers that their general contractor quoted them for their actual stuff. And, I don't know, a lot of homeowners out there probably don't know this, but the price you're paying for your kitchen in your home that you live in is going to be quite a bit more expensive than what we would pay for a kitchen as investors for basically the same thing.
Yes.
It's astounding how much contractors will upcharge just for, I don't even know the reason. We we had a kitchen put in a very high-end part of California, which I've put nicer kitchens in Moreno Valley, and we had this kitchen put in out there, which was like 6 times the cost of what I would have paid to put it in out there in Moreno Valley. And so I can't believe we actually ended up paying that contract. Well, I can't say we ended up paying him because we're suing him right now. But hey, that's that's for another show. We'll talk about that when that's all wrapped up. But
no, you're absolutely right. Even when I walked a couple properties last week with Mike down in Riverside, I noticed even being in the field, and I know. So I used to be also a professional rehabber. So I was a handyman going out and working on people's homes. So that was my business. Mm-hmm. That it still is. Yeah. I still do construction, and besides investing, I'm getting to just wanted to just do the flips. But you're absolutely right. The cost is a lot higher, and I think if homeowners knew how much the cost, I think they would probably fall on their,
yeah, fall out of their chairs. Yes. For sure. Okay, so you got these deals going, and now there's no stopping you. So. What's the plan? So we talked about income goals a little bit. You talked about how many properties you're going to try and buy over the next year, basically. What's the end goal? What are you trying to get to eventually?
So my end goal is to be out near Newport Beach, Costa Mesa. In 2013, I was working for a real estate investor that was a developer. And I learned 3 models, which was your basic rehab, mm-hmm. add value for square footage, and then a new construction. Mm-hmm. And that's really where I want to be. I saw my investor at the time. I saw him buy a property for $650. I put $275,000 in an addition he did, 500 square feet, and he sold it for 1.3.
That's nice.
And so I was already exposed to that. And many of those people today are behind me. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I want to be, is along the coast. Maybe even doing some design, hooking up with some architects. When I was working for the investor, I was in a warehouse where I was working with a structural engineer, and there was also an architect there, so I got to pick their brains a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, picking people's brains is a big deal. I mean, that's how you learn from all the guys that have been doing it. I know there's quite a few mentors that exist out there that will gladly sit down with you, and you take them out to lunch or something. They'll let you bend their ear for a little bit. So, so you want to basically be doing development, things like that, in the coastal area of California.
Yes.
And is that something you want to do basically just forever? I mean, you want to continue doing that, or you want to at some point get into like. You have I know a lot of people start getting into this cash flow mindset.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, this year I want to hold on to some rentals. So what I have in mind, I already own 1 home. Mm-hmm. Okay, what I'd like to do is buy another home, and have my home and have 3 rentals. So a total of 4 this year. Okay. That's my goal from 1 year from now.
Yeah, that's a good goal.
I think it's doable.
Yeah, very doable.
I think it's very doable. I thought a lot. I want to have a lot of rentals. I don't know exactly how many. I know a buddy of mine, he has a lot of rentals. He has about 300 rentals, and he makes it look super easy.
Yeah.
Really, really easy.
Yeah, I mean, if you set up the systems properly,
and so my thought is,
easy.
my thought is, if this guy has 300, I'm just going to just keep taking him out to lunch and keep picking his brain. like I mentioned, Todd, it's who you surround yourself with. So every Tuesday, I try to make it out to see Mick Blackwell.
Oh yeah,
Mick Blackwell, for those people that know, was
Mike Cantu.
Mike Cantu. Thank you very much. I got stuck there for a second. Mike Cantu, Aaron Mazzurillo, and Jeremy Jing. A lot of these guys mm-hmm. that are movers and shakers. So every Tuesday, I try to show up as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And learn as much as I possibly can. And surrounding myself with people like that, there's no reason that I could also hold on to 300 rentals.
Oh, yeah. And Mick, actually, he just RSVP'd this morning. I saw to he's coming out to our Saturday morning coffee event this Saturday.
Well, that's where I met him from. I met him at the coffee there at your guys' thing.
Oh, last month?
Yeah.
Nice. So you're new to Mick. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good time for me to at least mention it in case anybody out there is interested and you are looking to become a real estate investor. We do host some events each month through the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We have this Saturday, and actually we do this once a month. It's always the Saturday before the fourth Wednesday. I know that might sound confusing, but we have a Saturday morning coffee. We do that at Lift Coffee Roasters in Riverside. That's off of Chicago. We get there at 8 o'clock in the morning and basically just talk shop for a little bit. We talk for about 2 hours or so. We usually take off around 10. But a lot of people, they go out and do other stuff afterwards. They go and knock on doors, or they go do other stuff related to real estate. So it's cool. I'm glad other people do stuff. But if you want to come out and meet us and meet some other real estate investors, kind of get an idea of what people do. It's free. We don't charge anything, but Lyft appreciates it if you buy some coffee at least. Come on out to Lyft Coffee at in Riverside this Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll see you there. But if you can't make it there, next week on Wednesday the 26th, we'll be at the Mission Inn, which is where we do our main meeting every single month. This is where we have usually now it's anywhere between about 150 to 200 guests are coming now every month. This is at the Mission Inn in Riverside, and that's our big meeting. It's more structured. It's $20. It's because we wouldn't charge anything, but the Mission Inn doesn't let us in for free. So it's $20 at the door, and you come in, get to meet a lot of real estate investors. It's more structured. We have a haves and wants segment, and Todd's Problems, which is my new favorite thing I'm doing. And then we have an interview with a local investor, which we're keeping secret. We're actually keeping it secret from now on. We're not going to announce it anymore prior to the meeting.
Wow.
We decided to do that because we want people to come without an expectation of what they're going to learn, because you learn so much from all the different speakers, and so many people leave, like at the break. I shouldn't say so many people, but we usually lose about 10% of the audience, at the break, because they don't want to stick around for the speaker. Well, it's not a speaker; it's an interview guest. But it's a lot of fun. You learn a lot, and I think people should come check it out. It's the fourth Wednesday of every month. This month will be on the 26th, which is next Wednesday, and that's at the Mission Inn. Doors open at 6:30 p.m., and we go till about 9 to 9:30, somewhere around there, depending on how long the interview takes. And then we go to the Presidential Lounge afterwards for those of you that like to stay up late, because we're usually there till about midnight or so, basically until they kick us out, which I know you've been there. You've been there. We've gotten kicked out together.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock. The manager starts coming by and says, all right, guys, it's time to go. But we close the place down, and that's where all the deals happen, is at the Presidential Lounge afterwards. So
I've done deals there. I think a couple times you rolled up on me there at the Presidential Lounge. I think a year ago when I was doing the Paris deal with I think Jim.
Yeah, with Jim. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, and so that's a good time. And then the first Wednesday of every month, we always do the cash flow game. For those of you that don't know about cash flow, this is a board game created by Robert Kiyosaki, where it's kind of like Monopoly, but a little different. And basically, it's like a real estate seminar in a box. You get to learn how to invest in real estate, and you get to play it collaboratively with a group. And it's a lot of fun, actually. And you get to learn a lot about real estate deal making and things like that in the process. And we do that at the Bar and Grill Company in Yucaipa every first Wednesday of the month, and we kick that off about 7 o'clock. 6:30 to 7, somewhere around there, I think. But do them a favor and be sure to buy some food and drinks, because there's no cost to that either. It's all free. And then we also do a happy hour event once a month, which is usually the second Friday of the month, and we go to a local bar or restaurant and just sort of take over the place. Similar to the coffee thing, we just hang out, have a good time, hang out for a few hours, and then, that's a good way to kick off the weekend, I guess. We're celebrating before the weekend starts. But a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Definitely come out and check us out. You can look us up on meetup.com under the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. You can also look us up on Google. Pretty much go to Google and type in Riverside Real Estate Investment Club. We'll come up. We're number one always on that kind of stuff. So come check us out and let us know what you think. We'd love to see you there and whatnot. But for those of you that are just tuning in, we're here with our old friend Charlie, talking about his real estate investment experiences so far. And we were just talking a little bit before this about how you got some deals in escrow, and Yeah, you're on your way to your 25 deals this year goal.
Yeah, you know, Todd, you know, for a lot of those people that are wanting to get into real estate, I encourage everyone to go out. And so, this is, like I mentioned this earlier, this was my jumping off point. It was when I met you, and I took action. You know, I started putting in the focused amount of hours. They were focused. And what happens is a lot of times in those programs, it's not focused. As a matter of fact, they direct you to another way. And so
yeah, it's like trying to take a drink out of a fire hose too, because they give you so much information, you don't know what to do with it all.
Correct.
But another thing too is they give you so many avenues for pursuing real estate investment, and I'm always amazed at how many different ways people coming from these seminars talk about buying property, and I'm like, I didn't even know any of these things existed prior to me getting into real estate. I just knew about flipping and rentals. Like, that was my knowledge of real estate investing. And then people start coming to me talking about options and, you know, subject to, and like all these things that, yeah, and I've done those types of deals, but you know, I didn't start out doing that stuff. That stuff I graduated into.
Well, I think you have to have the kind of the hustler mentality to kind of get moving. And so, you know, we were talking about 2015 when we first met. Then after that, I would run into you all the time at the different clubs.
Yeah, Orange County, we got Coachella, we see you know, down in San Diego. Yeah, because there's a bunch of different investment clubs in Southern California. There's about 16 great ones. The Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club is, of course, the best one.
Of course.
But, you know, there's some pretty close contenders out there. We got to give credit where credit's due. Many of them have actually been around longer than us, but they're great. We actually got a lot of inspiration for our club from them, because they all have some very wonderful things to offer. Certainly the Orange County Real Estate Investment Club out in Joe LaJore's meeting in Irvine. That's one of the greater meetings. Pasadena, Christina Suter, her meeting's great. Even Karen, I like Karen's meeting. Karen in Orange, and I guess she's doing it in Anaheim, or no, she's in Irvine, I guess.
She's in Costa Mesa, Avenue of the Stars.
Avenue of the Stars, yeah. What is that hotel called? I can't remember, but Karen's meeting's great. There are a lot of nice people there, and Karen's a real nice lady too. I don't know. There's just a lot of good meetings around. You know, most of them have the Phoebe brand associated with them, which is for investors by investors. Most of them are pretty good, and definitely Coachella is one of my favorites. Janet and Larry French's meeting out there. Great people out that way. So if anybody who's listening is out in the Coachella Valley, go check out their meeting. They just had it last week, I think, on Thursday. So you'll have to wait until next month. But yeah.
Well, Todd,
anyway.
what would you recommend? What would you recommend for people that want to get started but they're paralyzed? What would your advice be to someone that wants to get started, but there's that fear?
Man, that's tough, because that's it's hard to know what to do with somebody if they don't know what their fear is. So, you know, a lot of people, it's so far outside of their comfort zone that they're not even comfortable talking to other people about stuff. You know, taboo subjects that we're not supposed to talk to people about, you know. I know Kendall's really good at this, where, you know, talking to people about things that, you know.
Money.
Yeah, money. You're not supposed to talk to people about money, you know. That's a taboo subject, and it's uncomfortable. And you have no business asking people this stuff, you know, but that's what you got to get comfortable with. You got to get comfortable being able to talk to people about money, because most people, because they don't talk about it, don't understand it, and don't know how to work with it. Money's a tool. Most people look at money like some other thing, but money's actually a tool.
A vehicle almost.
Yeah. You know, it's like, I look at money as, I have to take this money and I have to, you know, here I have it in this pile sitting right here. I need to move it over to this place over there, because it's going to turn into more money if I put it over there. It's going to just do it faster, which, you know, the bigger the pile gets, the bigger stuff I can move on to. You know, and that's money's a tool. That's all I'm getting at. And people have to get comfortable with those taboo subjects, talking to people about things like money, their home, their future, because that's what this all kind of ties back into. And it really scares people to talk about that. You have to have some guts. That's kind of what we were getting at earlier, talking about. You have to have guts to be able to talk to people about uncomfortable situations. You know, because some people are going through divorces. Some people are going through a death in the family. People are going through job loss, you know, and they have to, you know, these are problems they have going on in their lives, and you need to be able to give them a solution that's going to work for them. And that's, You know, that's scary for some people because they don't have the knowledge they feel to offer a solution that's actually going to be beneficial to these people. But we've found so many times that people are thankful for us getting them out of this problem that they had, this home that was an inconvenient thing for them. Like, you know, yeah, they could afford that $2,000 payment a few years ago, but things changed, and now they can't afford that $2,000 anymore, you know, and they're embarrassed, and it's, you know, it's a hard situation. So people just have to get good at talking to people about uncomfortable stuff. You know, you got to get good at dealing with that.
Maybe if they're standing in line or something, maybe they should talk to the person in front of them or behind them, or if they're at the grocery store.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I just talk to everyone. Sometimes I'm driving my car and I'm like, someone's standing there in the corner, and I'm like, we caught eye. And we said hi without even saying hi.
Yeah.
It's just like a, hi,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Yeah, just being personable. I mean, you know, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I don't think she'd want me to say her name on the air, but, you know, we were just joking. We were looking out the window at the office, and I saw a guy walking his dog, and I was like, just go out there and walk up to the guy and be like, hey, Chris, how are you? And then, you know, hey, I'm so-and-so. I almost said her name. Say, like, I'm so-and-so. And he's probably going to be like, I'm not Chris. Be like, oh, I'm supposed to be meeting Chris. He said he was bringing his dog, you know. Like, just start a conversation, then ask the guy some kind of question you have no business asking. Like, so what do you do? You know, what's your name? And just talk to him, make a friend. You know, it's, I don't know. Like, this is kind of the making it up process of real estate investing, where I don't have a method for any of this stuff. I don't know how to self-help people into getting comfortable with that. I just say,
I've tried. It doesn't work. I've like
just do something.
More than 20 people I've sat down, and then as more people are coming, I'm really studying to see if they're really going to take the action, because I know sometimes wanting to and actually doing is two different things.
Yeah.
And it's tough because you can't force no one to do anything. It's like so when I'm talking to the sellers, I'm not convincing them.
No.
I'm just showing them the benefits that they will get from working with me.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people too, they, for example, if they're in foreclosure or something like that, they're in default and they face losing their home, just being able to show them all the options. You know, explain to them some of the risks that might come along with some of the options that other people might have already presented them. Mm-hmm. You know, some people don't understand, you know, what could potentially happen to their credit. Some people don't understand they might get 1099, you know, from the bank for basically income. Like, you know, you didn't make that money, but because the bank had to short their return, you know, that you might get 1099 for that. So, you know, being able to explain to people what's going to happen in this process puts their minds at ease and are more willing to work with people that are just upfront with them.
You know, Todd, I think what really helped me excel in this business is I was setting up appointments. So here's a really not so an uglier name. I was an appointment setter, not a real estate investor. I was an appointment setter.
Yeah, but that's a good place to get started.
It was awesome. I think everyone should make it really easy, and everyone should want to talk to people and set up appointments. Mm-hmm. And that way, you're never the person, but you get to hear what's going on. And so, what I would do is set up a lot of appointments for these guys of Home Investors of America.
Yeah.
And then I would listen to what they were saying. I'd ask if I can record it. And then in the morning, me and another gal, we would go to Starbucks and we would study everything there was about Keep Your California Home, or everything about loan mods or BKs or litigation or whatever it was that we were talking about.
Right. And so you would basically listen to these conversations that they would have with the people, the homeowners.
Many times over and over and over, until one day I'm like, wow, I think I understand. I think the training wheels could come off. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly your life gets really exciting, and you start waking up with so much energy that it's just crazy.
Yeah, and you're like, I can't knock anybody's door yet. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning. I gotta wait.
And now it's just becoming so fun that I'm gonna that I have appointments, and then I'm gonna show up, and sometimes I don't know I don't have all the missing pieces of the puzzle, but it's fun because it's almost like, you know, I mentioned earlier, we're gonna huddle around the campfire, and we're all gonna figure it out, and that's the fun part.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. I mean, you know, plus there's a community here. Like when I started investing in real estate, there wasn't really I wasn't going to any clubs or anything like that. There was, you know, it was basically just me and, you know, Steven was there, but we actually didn't do the first deal together. So, and I had my mom, you know, but that was my community, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
just you and Beverly.
Yeah, just me and my mom. She's an appraiser, so you know, she had the knowledge. That's who I learned how to evaluate from. That's who would evaluate my deals to tell me if I'm crazy or not with my with my values. Which, you know, it took me a while to finally be able to say, you know, this is that's the value of the property. It is $300,000. That is it. I'm standing by that number. You know, it took me a while to have that confidence to be able to say that because, you know, until then she was the one that set the value. You know, I looked so heavily at her. I'm like, wow, you know, she knows what she's doing, but you know, I'm never going to be as good as she is. But you know, I'm way better than her now. She knows it. You know, the apprentice became the master. So now she retired. So now that I do it full time, she's you know, she gets to enjoy. I don't know what she does. Scrapbooking? Is that what you do? I don't know. Yeah, we'll find out.
Sometimes she teaches a little bit on appraisals.
Yeah,
I got a little class last week. I was really excited.
And I got to miss it. She did it while I was here. You know, how dare she? You know, I got to miss the whole thing. But no, it was yeah, she was a huge help. And then the community aspect of it. That's what I'm really enjoying now. Because now, like, since we started the club, having all these people around that we're doing all these deals with is so much more fun for me. You know, where I mean, we're just having a blast right now, and like everybody's learning, everybody's benefiting from it, everybody's making money. You know, the people that are in these homes are moving on to, you know, greater things, and they're not dealing with these problems anymore. It's been awesome for these last few years. So yeah, I enjoy the community, and like you said, you know, standing around the campfire, basically, it's you know, that's part of it.
And people you surround I mean, I keep saying this over and over, but if you're surrounding yourself with people that are only making $60,000, well, you're only going to make $60,000. But if you surround yourself with people that are multimillionaires, they're going to pull you up. So you can either get pulled up or you can get pulled down, and you can take action today. You can start today. Everyone can start today.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of talked about this on Monday. We were actually here at the studio because another broadcaster here on KCAA, Matt Rock, he has a show on Monday nights, and we actually closed out his first season. He had his last episode on Monday, and so we were talking a little bit about commiserating, about how these writers would all get together, like at Starbucks in the morning, and they would write movie scripts or TV scripts, whatever the case may be. But they'd all sit around, kind of complain and commiserate about how none of their scripts are getting bought. You know, like, oh, you know, these studios, blah blah blah, they're so mean. And you know, the community that's kind of surrounded that was this commiserating group of writers. So when one of them finally gets their script bought, and now they're going to be like a writer on a full-time sitcom or a movie or something like that, they're not part of the group anymore. And so they kind of get ostracized or kicked out of the group because that's not who they are anymore. They're not this person. It's, you know, and that's kind of how it is with us too in this business. You know, if you're around all your friends and family who work regular 9 to 5 jobs, and they've got it figured out, you know, they're all investing in their 401ks and everything's going fantastic for them. You as the entrepreneur are going to be the black sheep in the group, and nobody's going to want to support you. It's amazing how much they like tell you that you're wrong, and you know, they are completely not supportive of it, which is why it's nice to have the community, the club, because you know, we convince you, we could tell you, no, you're not crazy, you know, no, this is completely doable, and here's what you need to do. We can help get you down the right path. And that's, you know, like the question you asked earlier about what can I do to overcome these fears. It's like, it's tough to say because what is the fear? You know, like what do you really need to overcome? And sometimes it's not a fear of those types of things. It's a fear of something else, like a fear of success.
Yeah.
Because a fear of success is a weird fear. Mm-hmm. But people are afraid of it because they're going to lose family and friends because of success. Mm-hmm. You know, but it's a price you got to pay sometimes if you want it.
I've given up pretty much everything. I mean, everything to get to where I'm at. And luckily, I've had a great partner, my girlfriend, Chrissy. Mm-hmm. She's also an entrepreneur. And it's funny that you were mentioning writing because she's a writer. Yeah. And just like when I started the same way, she started going through meetups as a writer, and I would go with her. And it's so funny that my writing has got, like, really great. Yeah. And I don't even have a college degree. She's got a master's. Yeah. But it's who you surround yourself again with. Mm-hmm. And so we're able to help out each other. Like I said, I don't think it would be where I'm going. I need like a full team. Oh, of course. And without that, I think that the ship will sink.
Well, you have to. You know, as a real estate investor, you're not the guy that does everything.
No.
You know, after a while, you have to become like the conductor of the band. And I know I say this all the time. I probably sound like a broken
I
record.
love it.
But you are. You're the guy that's pointing fingers. You, as a real estate investor, you end up employing quite a few people. I think it's something like 21 people actually get employed for one real estate transaction, where you buy it, rehab it, and then sell it. You're employing several people in the process. And, you know, at the very end of it, and you're the last money out. You're the one that gets paid at the very, very end of it. So you have to take on all this risk up front and pay all these people for what they do, and then at the very end, if you did it right and pointed the finger at the right people at the right time, then you get some extra money out of it. You know, but that's what it takes to sort of restore these communities and restore these homes back to the, you know, the condition that they need to be in order to qualify for traditional lending and for, you know, home, like families that are going to move into them too.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, Todd. I think everyone should take some of this knowledge and just take some action. Just get a piece of paper, write what you're going to do today, what you're going to do tomorrow. Write something and do something, please.
Yeah, anything. You know, try to make a step towards a better life rather than, you know, what did Einstein say about craziness? He said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You know, if you are not enjoying the commute home right now, driving on the freeway, and you say, I want to work from home and be able to do stuff from from anywhere in the world, including on a beach, then I would love to check out real estate investing. You got to start doing something else.
Start getting uncomfortable. Start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Once that starts happening, I think the growth starts building, and then that's really when, like, all the, you know, that's a real nugget when you really start moving.
Yeah.
Moving and grooving.
Moving and grooving.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. I guess we got a couple minutes left, so I'll take this time to talk a little bit more and mention the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club one last time. For those of you who are interested in getting into real estate investment, the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club meets every fourth Wednesday at the Mission Inn in Riverside. We get together and open the doors at about 6:30 p.m. That goes until about 9 to 9:30, and then afterwards we go to the Presidential Lounge and usually have some food and a couple drinks and have some fun and make some deals, because that's where all the deals happen, and that's where we get to go hang out after the meeting, after we've got done, you know, taking all the equipment down and everything too. So,
great time. Sounds like a great time. Really.
It's always a good time. This month we have a special guest, and we can't reveal who it is, but yeah, come to. You can always go on meetup.com too and look up the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. We're a pretty good sized club, a little over 2,500 members now. In addition to that, this Saturday we have the Saturday morning coffee. I can't remember what I'm doing now. We have the Saturday morning coffee this Saturday at Lift Coffee Roasters in Riverside. It's free. Just come on down. You get to meet us and have some coffee, and they have good coffee. They also have some good breakfasts and things like that. That's this Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning at the Lift Coffee Roasters in Riverside. And then we have next Wednesday, we have the club, the main meeting. First Wednesday of the month is the Cash Flow Game, which is a board game created by Robert Kiyosaki. Good times, lots of fun, and you learn real estate investing playing a board game with some friends. That is at the Bar and Grill Company in Yucaipa. That starts at about 6:30 and goes till, actually, pretty much, it can go pretty late if your game's taking a while. I know the last time I went and I played, it took like 4 hours. Wow. So we had a great time. And I ended up winning, which was even better. So that's that one. And then we also have the happy hour event that we do on on the second Friday of every month. We have not picked a place yet for May, but we're going to be picking one soon. So you can find all that information on meetup.com, and you can also find that information if you go to iereic.org. And that's about it for us this week. I'd like to thank you for tuning in, and I'd like to thank Charlie for coming out. And we'll see everybody again here on Thursday at 4 p.m. Have a good week, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.